What is up, everybody? Today we got a fun video here to make because we're doing a tier list on Battleground Blitz. Okay, so Battleground Blitz is a new game mode. If you don't know already, it's solo queue battlegrounds with raiding. And it's coming out in War Within. It's already in the game now, kind of as like a test trial basis, but it's going to be more rated coming up here. So I want to kind of go over a little tier list because I've been playing a ton of it and actually very much enjoying it. And I want to kind of give some feedback on what I've been seeing so far and potentially good classes that will be good in this bracket. Okay, I have quite a few disclaimers here because I know people are going to be heated on some of these tier choices. I do top damage every game and my team just doesn't win. Why do I keep losing? Because damage doesn't matter. Okay, damage is not very important in this bracket. I think that's a understanding that has not been achieved by the majority of this population yet. Okay, I've been playing games. I play healer. I tried to just heal team fights and win team fights. It didn't matter. I just started ignoring everybody on my team and solo capping bases, and I've been winning substantially more. Okay, so once people figure out that damage doesn't matter, you're gonna understand why I'm putting these classes in the spots that they are. Also, I know there's a lot of tuning going on. There was a pretty big tuning pass last night. I am not considering final tuning. I think just the class spec design is what I'm taking into consideration. If something is severely undertuned, sure, but I think it doesn't matter the change in the tuning. With a lot of these classes, it's more of the base toolkit with the new changes going into War Within, okay? So, again, this is my opinion. Feel free to disagree, and I'm going to place these DPS in a category of three important things here. Okay, mobility, ability to peel out of a team fight, because these bases rotate very quickly. Okay, and a lot of them, especially AB, you have EOTs, a lot of them rotate quickly. If you can peel out of a fight, you are a better spec in this bracket. CC, ability to solo cap bases. Bases are much easier to cap than they were in RBGs if you're not aware. It only takes about 4 to 5, I think 4 seconds to cap a flag. So you can cap a flag very quickly with just one 5-second CC. So one cyclone, one trap, one blind, one poly, one fear, all of that gives you a cap. So that is going to be important to take into consideration. And finally, burst over pad damage. Pad damage is very not important. There is a few cases where pad damage is important. Battle for Gilneas and flag maps. Flag maps is more about burst on the killing the flag quickly, and yeah, sometimes EOTs and sometimes AB, but like rarely. Okay, it's mostly just Gilneas and maybe Temple of Hamagu. But for the most part, pad damage is irrelevant. I don't care how much damage you do on the meters. You're not winning the game because of that, most likely. Okay, now that we got that covered, we're gonna start with the process of tiering. Okay. I know people are gonna get heated, that's why I gotta say that shit. All right, so first up here, we got Demon Hunter, easy S tier. It fits all those categories. And for S tier classes, let me recite one more time. S tier class in my head is a class that can carry a game, okay? If I am picturing a class and I do not think it can solo carry a game by its doing whatever it can do, it's not an S tier in my head, okay? Demon Hunter has high CC, high mobility, high damage, high self-sustain. It's great. I think we can all agree that's an S tier class. Doesn't matter the tuning. So Feral going A tier. It covers a lot of these things here. I'm actually gonna leave this right on the side so y'all don't forget about it. All right. Okay. Feral covers these bases here. Feral has high mobility, it has high CC, it has great burst damage. Does it all. I don't care about the tuning. It does it all. A tier. Survival Hunter, A tier. Does all the same things. It has good mobility. It can disengage, it can freedom. It's got decent mobility, I should say. CC is very good. It also has the ability to, let me actually also add this in. I guess we could say sit base. Or defend base, I guess. I'll put defend base in there as well, I guess. Okay, because you are going to need to slightly defend bases, okay? So I think Hunter kind of hits all of that, all those marks in there. You can solo carry a game pretty decently. Not as good as some of these S tiers, though. Enhancement Shaman, D tier. It does not really have any of that stuff. I saw some people like flag carrying with Burrow and all the tanky talents. It wasn't bad, but I don't see it I honestly don't see myself putting it in anything higher than that. Windwalker Monk, I think I'm going to put it at a C tier. It's kind of in the same boat as Enhance, but it does have much better mobility and much better burst. CC is actually not too bad. Ring of Peace could be really, really good in certain situations, but I think overall it's probably not good as some of these other specs in this bracket. So that's just going to be my opinion there. Ret, I think is going to be an A tier. Really good damage. On top of that, it has decent mobility with the obviously the freedoms, the horses. It's got, you can Hodge cap, you can Hodge rep cap, so you can solo cap bases pretty well. You can defend base as well with bubble. You're really good in like a 1v1 scenario. I guess I'm gonna put this, damn, I'm evolving this thing, 1v1 capability, because there are a lot of 1v1s that kind of pop out when you're like 1v1 on a base, that if you can just kill that person, you cap the base, you can win the game. So that's actually also important as well. So I think Red hits all those categories there for an A tier class. All right, rogues that by default I think are going to be A tier. Okay, I'm just gonna do all the rogues at once here. I'm going to put Sub as S tier. I'm going to put the other two at A tier. I think they're all solid. The fact that you have Kidney Shot is phenomenal. I think Sub's a bit better, having duel, having the better, or hopefully the tune, you know, when the tuning comes again. I'm not trying to consider this tuning at the moment because things are going to change. But damage aside, you can solo cap bases so well. So in just manipulating the people games and getting trinkets and then just capping over somebody, you could easily carry a game 100%. I think Asa and Outlaw, people are probably not going to agree with me on Outlaw. I don't care about the damage. Outlaw has crazy good CC, and it has really good mobility as well with the whatever the grappling hook thingy majiggy is. So automatic A tier for my eyes. Okay, Fury Warrior, I'm gonna put at the C tier. I'm gonna put it slightly above Enhance because you can like spec into like all these heroic leaps and stuff, and you do have the MS, which is really good for killing flag carriers and orb carriers and stuff like that. So it could have some use, but it doesn't really cover any of these. It doesn't cover like the CC or defending. You're really susceptible to all that stuff. So yeah, CT from here. Okay, Unholy DK, I'm gonna go with an A tier as well. I think Unholy DK is really good in terms of damage. I do not think it's an S tier class because it does not have these two big things here. You can't just solo cap a base, and your mobility is limited in that regard. You can't just leave a base whenever you want and just go peel to the next thing. You can hold people back from peeling, which is a good thing, and that's why you're an A tier, but I do not think it's worthy of an S tier because of that. Frosty K, I'm gonna put it at a B tier. I think Frosty K is kind of in a similar boat. The damage is slightly worse, but the burst is slightly better. But I think, you know, having the pet utility on top of what, you know, Frost has great damage. Don't get me wrong, it does insanely good damage, but that's not gonna win you the game. All right, so for that reason, it's going B tier. Great damage, has like the grippy stuff, but it doesn't have like the ability to, you know, to 1v1 and CC, all that kind of stuff. So, yeah. Arms Warrior, we're gonna put a B tier as well. Man, I don't know actually about Warrior. I'm gonna leave it here for now. Bladestorm's great, mobility for that, and yeah. I mean, I'm kind of up in the air on Warrior. I don't think I've seen enough. Maybe it should be with Fury. I'll leave it here for now. My gut says B for some reason, so we're gonna go with B tier. It's kind of just in the middle. Doesn't have any of this crazy stuff. You can fear cap. Bladestorm can be really good just for immunities and just doing shit, and you can like immune CC with it. But I don't think it really. Maybe it's not, man. By my rationale, it actually should be C tier. I'm gonna put it there for now. I mean, I could be wrong. Again, every class on here is viable. I'm just trying to make a tier list, y'all. So I gotta separate the tiers, okay? All right, next up here, augmentation. I'm gonna put, so we're moving on to casters now. Okay, that's all the melee. Augmentation, I'm gonna put augmentation at B tier. Augmentation can be very good. It's an evoker by nature. It's got really good mobility. I think you could even argue this to be an A tier, but I'm gonna keep it at B. It's got all of the stuff that Aug has, and Aug has been doing pretty dang good damage on the beta, so I can imagine this is gonna be pretty good overall. And just the evoker utility is really great to have. And you know, deep breath, if you're playing Corona Warden, having those really like those blinks that you can actually do with the blink hovers with the flag. So I think it's going to be a solid B tier there. Devastation. All right, I am going. Damn, Devastation is tough. I'll put it at S tier for right now because it does cover some of these bases. Man, it's like an in-between an S and an A. The damage can be really crazy AoE. Your biggest weakness is your squishy, right? If you get rooted, you're kind of fucked. But you have really good burst. You can sleepwalk cap. You're very mobile. yeah, you kind of hit a lot of these categories, except for that you are pretty squishy. So the 1v1 capability and ability to defend a base are kind of not great, but you cover these three pretty nicely. Especially if you run, like, you can run the spam sleepwalk, and you can sleepwalk multiple targets, and you can definitely fuck with the team with all of those. So, man, my gut says I'm gonna leave it at S for now. Fuck it. I think it could definitely be an A tier. Okay, Fire Mage. I'm gonna put Fire and Frost at B tier. I think they're both solid. You could polycap. You have really good AoE damage, but again, I don't think AoE damage wins games. And I'm gonna go with just do all the mages at once here. I'm actually gonna put Arcane a smidge higher because Arcane has, I believe, I mean, I could be wrong, I know, but it still has Chrono Shift. So I think the mobility is going to be a bit better, and the burst damage could be a bit better, and the 1v1 capability is a bit better than these two classes. I think they could take Ice Wall too, right? Ice Wall is really solid, but I'm pretty sure anybody could take Ice Wall. Yeah, that's what I'm going with. Okay, I need to disperse some of these brackets a bit, but I think it's going to be A tier just because of the capabilities of the spec itself, and the damage is not bad at all. So I think for all three of these, you can kind of argue for the same thing. Yes, Fire Mage does really good spread cleave damage, but that doesn't matter that much in most games. Okay, BM Hunter. I think BM Hunter is a B tier. I guess I don't think I can feel comfortable putting it anything lower because it is a hunter. Hunters by nature, I think they're going to be automatic B tiers. I'm gonna put Marksman up at an S as well. Okay, so BM Hunter, the reason difference on here is just the damage discrepancy on capability to just burst something down really quick. Marksman Hunters can just absolutely annihilate flag carriers as well as like orb carriers, on top of having that, you know, freedom disengage for the good mobility, and the CC between scatter, roots, traps, potentially diamond ices. Like it's fits all those categories, and really good 1v1 capabilities. So, but BM Hunter I think is a bit weakness in terms of just that 1v1 capability, and it doesn't really have the burst damage. So I think it's kind of a little bit subpar in terms of that. Ellie Shaman, I'm gonna put Ellie Shaman in A tier. Yes, the damage is great. I get it. It does so much damage. I don't care about the damage. It doesn't have what it takes to be an S tier class. If the tuning gets low enough, I could easily see this being a B tier. It kind of just depends how this tuning is, right? If this tuning nerfs the Ellies too much, because I think the Ellies are kind of just a little bit ridiculous in terms of tuning. This is probably the one spec I'm going to say is an outlier. If the tuning is turned down, it is definitely a B. It's not worthy of an A because of the utility, but because the damage is so absolutely broken, and the utility is not bad. You have static field. You can play, you know, the AoE roots. You have obviously Ghost Wolf. So you have decent mobility. You could play like Spirit Walk, so you can get out of fights. Like the utility is not bad. Like I said, if the tuning's bad, if tuning stays the way it is, A tier. If it gets nerfed, it's going to be a B tier. Okay, Boomy, automatic S tier. Boomy is like literally the best, probably the best overall. These three are like the best three classes in best three DPS, I would say, in this bracket altogether, just because really great damage, really good ability to peel, really good burst, really able to defend bases in stealth, 1v1 capabilities, excellent. Hits all of them on the money. All right, Affliction Lock, it's gonna go B tier. Great damage, doesn't have much of anything else. You can fear cap, sure, you can maybe 1v1, but I don't see it being an absolutely like a carry spec. And I think, honestly, Demo's slightly worse, and Destro would probably be in that same boat there. So Destro and Af are kind of in the same boat. They both do great damage. Destro maybe has the burst, Af has the pad, so they kind of are better in their own ways. I don't think Demo really has either of those. The only thing Demo has going is his abilities to defend bases, I would say. Apparently there's some bugs going around with like them not leaving combat, so that really crushes your ability to peel out of a fight. So for that reason, we're going to go for the C tier there. Shadow Priest, I'm actually going to put it in A tier. I was kind of up in the air where to put this spec, but I was playing with some Shadow Priests, and I think Stun, Silence, Fear is so powerful in terms of like 1v1ing and 1v1ing bases, and for capping, and they have, you know, obviously they have Dispersion and Phase Shift with the flag, which is pretty crazy that you can do that, or just getting out of fights with Phase Shift and Dispersion. So I think your ability to get out of fights is pretty good as well. Combine that with Shadow Meld, you're out of the fight completely. It's great. Damage is very good as well. They just got some more buffs, so I think it's a solid A tier for that. And it has really good off healing, and it's relatively tanky right now. So I think it's definitely a solid class. It's probably better than Ellie, and if I were to rank these in order here on the bracket. Okay, that is it for the casters. Now moving on to the healers. I think Holy Paladin is not great. Yes, the healing is going to be pretty dang good, and you have freedoms, but you are lacking in probably. Maybe I could even argue it as a B tier. I'm going to say, because you know what? You do have the ability to peel out with freedoms. You do have the ability to solo cap. You do have pretty good healing. You can defend a base. I'm going to put it in B tier. Okay, maybe by my logic, I need to be honest here. By my logic, I think, especially because the tuning was pretty dang good on Holy Paladin, on the beta, I think it's a viable B tier. All right. Next up here, Holy Priest. Holy Priest is going to be C tier for me. I think Holy Priest and Disc Priest, honestly, hold on. Let's hold off on that. Holy Priest, great healing. Doesn't have really good mobility to peel out. Has okay CC to cap bases. You can chastise. Excuse me. You can chastise for your cap bases, but your ability really isn't there to really get to those, to really engage in those scenarios in the first place. And the healing's okay. You can get trained down pretty easy. Yeah, I don't think it's good enough for that. I think both pre-specs, I think you're not really going to see this at the moment, but I think as you see ratings climb up there, I think you're going to see this more and more. If you take a DK or an assassination rogue and just say, yo, there's a Disc Priest on the other team, I am never going to leave his side, or Holy Priest, you will take that healer out of the game completely. They will never be able to kill you, and they will never get away from you. So I think you're going to see that more and more, especially with even tanks, maybe Blood DKs. And I think for that reason, these two are highly susceptible just to be getting destroyed on terms of getting locked down and not being able to actually move around the map. So for that reason, I'm going down there, and I'm putting Disc at D because it's got really nothing going for it. Yes, it can do damage. Yes, it can do decent healing in team fights, but that doesn't matter. This is not RBGs. I know RBGs, people would put that shit at S tier. This is not RBGs. This is more about these things, okay? And I think Disc sucks. The tuning is not great right now already. And I think you combine that with all of these things, and I don't think it's going to be worthy at all. Maybe you could say it's a C tier too. If the tuning if it gets buffed enough, like there were some recent buffs, if it does get buffed enough, I could probably see it being a C tier, but I don't seeing it just for the sake of a tier list. I want to put it on D tier just to give some variety here. Okay, Mistweaver Monk. Mistweaver Monk's going to be an A tier for me because really good. Okay, hear me out here. Hear me out. People are like, no, it should be an S tier. Hear me out. I do not think you have the capabilities of some of these other specs at an S tier level to carry a game. Your healing is phenomenal. You are the best. Probably the best, team fight healer in this regard. Okay, you are definitely the best on some maps. Okay, but I do not want to put this in S tier because I think Resto Druid and Preservation Invoker hit these way better. Okay, hear me out. Okay, I know people are gonna say Resto Druid got nerfed and it's not good anymore. Blah blah blah. I don't care. I played Resto Druid. You can solo cap literally any base. You can 1v1. You can 1v2 cap bases. I've had scenarios where I catch a hibernate on a pet, on a hunter pet, root a pet, hibernate a melee, hibernate a pet, clone a a hunter, and double cap on them. Like, you could do some crazy shit, and anything is like, yeah, you could just solo cap so easy, man. I don't see a reason why this is not S tier. It is very tanky itself. You can flag carry pretty dang well. You have really good mobility if you take all these speed talents. And yeah, I don't think there's any question there. And Preservation Invoker has really great mobility. You can actually flag carry pretty decently well as well, especially once you're going to get Chrono Warden. Very good AoE healing, very good damage as well to contribute to the fights. Deep Breath, you can Deep Breath while holding the flag, another immunity. I think Preservation is going to be up there. And like I said, Mistweaver is really good. I just don't think it kind of hits that boat of just being able to do some of this other stuff solo, okay? Great team fight healer, best team fight healer. Okay, Resto Shaman. I'm going to put Resto Shaman C tier. Okay, Resto Shaman is not bad at all. Definitely pretty good healing, but I think it kind of lacks in some of these other things. You know, it doesn't have as good of a team fight as some of these. It doesn't have the ability to kind of sit a base. Doesn't have the ability to 1v1 really anything. Doesn't have that great of damage. Doesn't have that great of CC, and it doesn't have that great mobility. So for that reason, we're going to C tier. Okay, so that is all the healers here, and now for the tanks. Granted, I am not the best person to ask about tanks. I'm just going to take a guess. Let me know if I'm wrong in the tanks. I don't care. But I'm just going to guess that Demon Hunter's S tier. I'm going to guess that Guardian's A tier. I'm going to guess that Blood Decay is potentially A tier as well, just because it can take it. If it wants to take a healer out of the game completely, it can. And then I think probably Brewmaster. Maybe something like that. I don't know. That's going to be my guess. That's just gonna be my guess. I could be totally off on those, but yeah, that's my tier list, guys. I know a lot of y'all are gonna disagree. I don't care. This is just for fun, but hopefully you enjoyed it for entertainment purposes. Maybe you found something you want to try out for the bracket, and I'm gonna have some more videos to come on the bracket itself, so make sure you guys are stay subbed, follow the stream live every day for a little bit here and there, and I will catch y'all on the next one. Peace out.